All right, today we're cracking open a case file that's been cold for well over a century. This is a story straight from the Chicago underworld. A heist so strange, so perfectly planned, and so brutally finished that it's still one of the greatest unsolved mysteries on the books.
So, picture this. It's December 1914. A crew of thieves hits the brand new Chicago Federal Reserve. On paper, it's a flawless job, but just 19 minutes later, the sirens are screaming and nearly the entire crew is in police cuffs. Here's the catch, though. Their leader? Gone. And with him, a mind-boggling 2,000 tons of gold bullion. Just vanished. So the big question, the one that's haunted investigators for 100 years, is what in the world actually happened?
Okay, so let's set the scene. We're in the heart of 1914 Chicago. While Europe is sliding into the First World War, the Pulaski crew is zeroing in on a huge government transfer of gold bullion, sitting quietly in the basement of the Fed. But you got to understand, this was not your average stick-up. This crew, they were something else entirely.
See, this wasn't just a gang, it was a hand-picked team of specialists, and each one brought a very unusual talent to the table. Leading the pack was Richard Chappelle, a guy who could supposedly bend reality itself. Then you had Giuseppe Fiore, a charmer whose real power was supernatural persuasion. For muscle, you had the twin thaumaturges, Akram and Anam. We're talking actual magic users. The enforcer was Mads Moody, a man with terrifying strength. And finally, the safecracker, Louis Bernstein. He didn't need drills or dynamite, he had pyrokinesis. He could control fire with his mind.
And their plan? Oh, it was a work of art, designed to use every one of their skills. They just walked right in, posing as bank guards. While Fiore kept a teller completely captivated with a story about opening a new account, the twins, Autumn and Annam, silently took out 3 actual guards without anyone hearing a thing. Moody then just carried them off like they weighed nothing. And with the whole bank under this subtle, weird spell, Bernstein just walked up to the massive steel vault door and melted it open.
Everything was going perfectly, almost too perfectly. Just as Bernstein was burning through that last layer of steel, the spell holding the bank in its trance just shattered. Suddenly, gunshots are popping off upstairs, police sirens are wailing in the distance, total chaos. Their 19-minute window is slamming shut and fast.
So when the Chicago PD finally stormed the vault, they found most of the crew, dazed and confused. But their leader, Richard Chappelle, was gone. And even more impossibly, so were the 2,000 tons of gold. I mean, it wasn't moved, it wasn't loaded onto a truck, it had just evaporated. Poof, gone.
The police were, completely baffled. So they called in a specialist, an embedded agent from a very secret organization that deals with this kind of weirdness, Detective Chad Pick. His job was to make sense of the impossible by interrogating the 3 crew members they'd caught. But, as he was about to find out, a straight answer was the last thing he was going to get.
First up was Louis Bernstein, the safecracker. And this guy is terrified, not of jail time, but of his boss. He keeps saying, "I've seen what he does to snitches." When Pick presses him about the gold, he doesn't hesitate. He immediately throws the twins under the bus, claiming they used some kind of foreign hocus-pocus to make the gold disappear. Probably as part of a double-cross with Chappelle.
But then, in walks the enforcer, Mads Moody, and he tells a completely different story. He calls Bernstein, or Bagels as he calls him, a total coward. Moody claims Bernstein was standing right there in the vault with the twins when the gold vanished, and he did nothing to stop them. Basically, he's saying Bernstein was in on it.
And their stories about the boss, Richard Chappelle, they're night and day. Bernstein is absolutely petrified, convinced Chappelle is real and will hunt down anyone who talks. Moody, on the other hand, floats this wild theory. He suggests Chappelle might not have even been there at all. He says the leader had the power of bilocation, meaning he could be in 2 places at the exact same time.
But the real bombshell, the thing that turns the whole case on its head, comes from the smooth talker, Giuseppe Fiore. He calmly tells Detective Pick that his partners are lying through their teeth. And why? Because Bernstein isn't just looking at robbery charges. According to Fiore, he's looking at murder, and that gives him every reason in the world to lie.
And here's the detail that changes everything. Fiore claims that when Bernstein melted that vault door, he didn't know there was a guard stationed on the other side. A guard who was instantly incinerated, leaving behind nothing but a pile of charred bones. This explains why Bernstein was so desperate, insisting he hadn't killed anyone. He was trying to dodge a murder rap.
So, with this tangled web of lies and contradictions, Detective Pick has one last stop. He's going to the interrogation room, holding the two people at the absolute center of this mystery, the twins, Aziam and Anam. This interview was going to be his last.
And the twins, they are just ice cold, completely calm, totally in control. Alum, who does all the talking for his mute brother, doesn't even play games. He cuts right to it, telling Pick that he knows Pick has a personal stake in finding this gold, and that they are the only two people on Earth who can lead him to it. The message is crystal clear. We hold all the cards.
It's right here that the official record just stops. After this tense back and forth, Detective Pick does something absolutely unheard of. He dismisses the stenographer from the room. The rest of that interview went completely unrecorded, leaving what happened next a total chilling mystery.
And the aftermath was a bloodbath. The very next day, Detective Pick is found dead in his trashed apartment. He'd been drained of almost all of his blood, and weirder still, his body was badly decomposed, which is just impossible given he was seen alive less than 24 hours before. Then, in a dumpster out back, police find the bodies of Alam and Anam, both executed with a single gunshot wound.
So, with the lead detective and the key suspects all dead, the case just completely falls apart, exploding into this huge mess of unanswered questions and really sinister possibilities. All we have left are theories, and each one is darker than the last.
The leading theory from the organization that took over the investigation, the Foundation, is this. The man everyone thought was Detective Pink was actually an imposter, an associate of Chappelle's who had killed the real agent, taken his place, and used some kind of magic to fool everyone. This person then smuggled the twins out of their cells for that final, deadly meeting.
This theory immediately brings up a huge question. Did this imposter detective just double-cross the twins? Did he get them to reveal the location of the gold and then execute them to keep the entire treasure for himself? It's definitely possible.
Or let's go back to what Moody said. What if we take his bilocation theory seriously? Could the mastermind himself, Richard Chappelle, have been the imposter? Was he somehow directing the heist and conducting the interrogation at the same time, playing both sides of the board at once?
And here's maybe the most disturbing question of all. What about those charred bones? Was Fiore telling the truth about the guard, just trying to frame Bernstein? Or is there a third, more chilling possibility? What if the bones weren't an accident at all, but a necessary, gruesome component for the twins' magic ritual to teleport 2,000 tons of gold?
In the end, we're left with a puzzle where every single piece is a lie. The leader is a ghost, the gold vanished into thin air, the key witnesses are all dead, and the investigator himself might have been part of the conspiracy all along. It's a perfect, impossible crime. And it begs one last question. When every lead is a dead end, can a century-old mystery like this ever really be solved?